Hey, I'm Jim and you're watching Race Day. Today I've got something a little bit different for you. We're nearly halfway through the year. I've run a fair few races, got a few PBs, so I want to talk about the race shoes that I've worn and give you a bit of an overview of how they all stack up against each other. All of these shoes, I think I have full reviews on my channel. So if you're wanting more in-depth information about stack heights, about weights, then check out the channel for those films. This is, I guess, more of a recap of the first 6 months of 2026. I do want to start by saying that as someone who is 50, soon to be 51, I've picked up PBs in the 5K, half marathon and marathon over the past 6 months. I remember back when I was 39 saying to someone, if I don't get sub 3 before I'm 40, I'll never get it. That actually took me until last autumn when I'd soon turn 50. So if you're out there watching this and you're thinking your days of PBs are behind you, well, perhaps you just need a better pair of shoes. So let's get started. Back at the start of this year, and the Pro Evo 2. So this is a shoe that I picked up last summer. I intended to wear it for Chicago Marathon, where I was trying to get under 3 hours for the first time. And I mean, that is something that I've been chasing for, as I said before, over a decade. If spending a ridiculous amount on a shoe was going to get me that time, then I was prepared to do it. But in the end, I decided that I wouldn't wear this shoe for Chicago. I ended up wearing the Pro 4s, just really because I wasn't sure that I could maintain the form that I thought that this shoe really needed to get the most out of it. I was worried that I will break down in the late stages of the marathon, and that really to maintain the kind of speed that you want to put into this shoe, a shorter race was going to work for me. So towards the start of this year, there was the Brass Monkey Half Marathon, which is a big club race here in the north of England. And I decided that that was the ideal chance to try out this shoe. Now, I'd kind of come through the start of winter training. We were still back in January. I wasn't sure what my form was like, so I went into it, pulled this on, did a warm-up, and it felt ultra light. It's obviously not as light as the newer version, but still an incredibly light shoe. I went off far too fast in this race, and just kind of kept on telling myself that the shoe will do the work. Just maintain your correct form, make sure that you're forefoot striking, and try and keep up with those people around me. I was thinking all the way through that first half that this is silly, I'm going to blow up. And where I actually ran into trouble because of this shoe was their slippery outsole. So it was a wet day. We hit a piece of country lane which was especially shiny, and I was at the front of a group of lads. I nearly went over because of this shiny surface here. I kind of moved to the side to let them pass because I was worried that I was going to go over and they were all going to run over the top of me. But I don't know if it was kind of the adrenaline rush of nearly going over, because the second half of that race was brilliant. I actually accelerated and ended up getting a half marathon PB of about 75 minutes 33, which, considering this time last year I was hoping to get under 120, is a huge PB for me. Unfortunately, one that I haven't managed to beat since. Absolutely great shoe. It hasn't really had a good outing since, because I'm nervous about the bottom of this shoe, and being in the UK, more often than not, the races, especially in the morning, end up being on wet roads. So first race, first PB. Next, let's go to the Feidian 6. Now, I just love this shoe. This is a shoe that I think I've got 2 or 3 films on the channel about already. You have this super boom capsule here. Really bouncy, a lovely shoe to run in. This is actually my second pair, which I picked up for the Boston Marathon. But the first pair now has over 400 miles on it and is still incredibly bouncy. So back in, I think it must have been about March, I did the Berlin half marathon. It was a race that I got into after the half success in January. I thought the fact that I nearly went over and the fact that that race had a couple of overpasses in it, going for a flatter course in Berlin, there was a good chance I could get under 75 minutes. I've been running so well in this shoe, enjoying it so much that I decided that this was the shoe to go for. Now, after the race, I kind of unfairly did a bit of a YouTube short Instagram reel about how this shoe hadn't worked for me. But I have to say that using it for a half marathon, I did find it a bit flat, a bit bulky, a bit clunky. And though the padding was great and the bounce, I don't think that the shoe is aggressive enough for me in a half marathon. When I was trying to get up to the speeds that I wanted to go to get a PB, the shoe just wasn't responding in the way that I needed it to. And I think that was incredibly unfair looking back at it now. I think there's loads of things that go into a race and whether it works or doesn't. Probably the fact that I ran too much the day before, that my legs were perhaps not as fresh as I wanted was a problem. So Berlin wasn't a success. I did get my second fastest half marathon time ever. So a friend of mine was like, "You seem really disappointed for a good result." But I did decide that this was the shoe to wear for Boston Marathon back around Easter time. Now, there were a couple of reasons for that. Mainly this super boom capsule, that Boston is known for being a hilly course where you have a downhill at the start that is known to beat up people's legs, and you have an uphill climb and then downhill again at the end. And that kind of combination beats up people's legs. So I thought the super boom capsule would do well in protecting me for that. I think it did a great job for that. My legs felt fresh right the way through to the end. The other thing about this shoe is it's a real marathon cruiser, so you can lock into a pace. And I did very much feel like I could lock into my marathon pace and just tick off the miles. It was a race that loads of people had a good time in. We had good conditions. For me, it was a marathon PB. I got 2:49:44 maybe. But I mean, as I said earlier, this time last year I was chasing that elusive sub 3. Managed to get under 2:49 now, wearing this on the hilly course in Boston. So absolutely phenomenal result. And just generally, this shoe is brilliant. This and the Qiaodan Feiying Plaid 3 are kind of the reason why there haven't been so many reviews on this channel recently, because I'm loving running in these shoes so much that they're kind of sitting next to my front door. And I've forgotten about ShoeTube a bit and put too many miles into the same shoes. But I mean, sometimes you're just loving running the shoes so much, you just want to bang out the miles in it. So, sticking with Chinese super shoes. So this is the Qiaodan Feiying Plaid 3. This is a shoe that arrived, I think, while I was away in Boston or just after I got back. And it just looks fantastic. I mean, the way that it looks is a lot of the reason why I bought this shoe. I'd seen it on Jog On Craig's channel, I think it was, and just thought, I need that shoe. I need to see what it's like. So far too close to Boston, I got back, and the night before a half marathon, I signed up to do this half marathon. I decided I needed to do a longish run anyway, so I might as well get a medal for it. So the Newcastle Gateshead half marathon, a hilly half marathon through an industrial estate, going up and down hills, not the most exciting races, but a really exciting shoe. And I had a really good race in it, considering the course. I think I did about 117. I got first in my age category. And this is just super comfortable, such a nice shoe to wear, an excellent ride. Now, comparing to the Fedian 6 Elite, this is the same stack height. It's the same weight, but the ride to me feels very different. To me, personally, this feels much lower to the road, much more aggressive. Now, I've seen some films by other people where they've said that they felt this was quite tall. That's just not how it is run for me. And it's kind of disappeared into the background in the races that I've worn it in. I think there's no feeling that I need to forefoot strike correctly, that I need to really concentrate on form. Perhaps because that race wasn't that important to me, I just didn't think about that, just really enjoyed the race. I think last week I ran a local club race here, the Bladen race, which annoyingly is 5.8 miles, so it's not a 10k. And I did 33 minutes 12 in that. I won my age category, beat everyone in the V45 age category as well, which I was especially pleased about. Again, this shoe was just phenomenal. That was a really wet race, and the outsole on this is great. You know, after my experience in the Brass Monkey, I've been more conscious of what the outsoles are like if it's a wet race. And as I said earlier, more often than not in the UK, you end up with a wet race. It was pouring down with rain at the start of Bladen, but this really gave me confidence in the ride that I was going to stick to the road. To me, this is a lot more aggressive than the Feidian 6 Elite as well. In especially Bladen, when I wanted to get past a group of people, if I wanted to not be dropped by a runner, if I wanted to get past someone, then this just really responded well when I just want to put a spurt on. And it's just a phenomenal shoe. I mean, I think I paid £130 for this shoe from China, and it's incredible. I've actually ordered a second pair because for me at the minute this is my top pick for Berlin Marathon in the autumn. That might change, but I'm putting so many miles into this, and it takes 2 to 3 weeks to get a shoe from China. I just wanted to have a second one in my running shoe arsenal, ready to take out there and do some races. But I did a good speed session this yesterday. It's just a shoe that really, if you don't have it, really consider picking one of these up. The Qiaodan Feiying Plaid 3. So that leaves only one more race, and this, the super expensive Pro Evo 3. I mean, first thing to say about it is it's incredibly light. I wore this for the Edinburgh Half Marathon, another race which, in terms of half marathons, is meant to be super fast. I don't think it was the best race, to be honest, and not so much because of the conditions, which I'll come to, but it was a bit of a pig of a course, to be honest. But I managed to get my hands on one of these through the lottery that Adidas likes to do. Paid for it with my own money, like all these shoes. And unfortunately, the conditions in Edinburgh turned out to be warmer than I expected. I was kind of tracking the weather forecast and thought, you know, because I was starting at 8 a.m, I should get away with it. But I got 6 miles in and my pace just started to drop. And I think, as I said in my long review of this shoe, it's the problem with this shoe. You spend all that money on a shoe that is really only meant for 1 or 2 races, and then you end up with a day that doesn't go your way, and really you've wasted a really expensive shoe. The outsole is starting to come off a bit. I will get another race out of it, I'm sure. But as I said in my main review of this, I just think that for a shoe that costs so much money, it's not for the likes of us because, well, for anyone really, if you're paying for this shoe, like £500 for a one and done shoe, it's just too much. Um, I expect to get another race out of it. I will probably get some glue, try and work out which glue is not going to eradicate this uncompressed foam. But yeah, I ended up won my age category in Edinburgh, but it was my slowest half marathon of the year. Oh, but of course, it did get me my 5K PB, so I guess I have to be grateful to it for that. That was at a park run, and I knocked 10 seconds off my 5K PB. So I think that was about 16:30. Was pleased with that. Still came second. One thing to note was it totally put a hole in the back of my heel up in Edinburgh. Yeah, but don't buy it anyway. It's too expensive. So that's my races for the first 6 months of the year. My two big shoes to recommend are the two Chinese shoes. I mean, both of them cost me about £130. This is a bit more expensive at the minute. Prices on AliExpress, which is where I'm buying these shoes from, tend to go up and down. So I tend to be on the app every day looking to see what price I can get at the minute. If it's a good price, then I'll buy a second pair. I've got my eye on some new colorways of this at the minute. But then I do know that the Fedian 7 Elite will be coming out soon, and I'm excited for that. I hope that review was useful to you. That kind of ramble about my first 6 months of the year was useful to you. There are fuller reviews of these shoes on my channel, so check those out, and I'll see you soon.